The true measure of your strength is what you do after you think you've won. Winning today doesn't guarantee tomorrow's peace. It's what you do next that matters. Every victory opens the door to a new set of trials waiting to challenge you. Victory might feel sweet, but it's the test that follows that reveals your true resilience. What happens next is where you find out how strong you really are. You've conquered one chapter, but the story isn't over yet. Your win today might be the calm before a much bigger storm. It's easy to celebrate a win, but the real challenge is what follows. Victory is fleeting, but the lessons of what after will stay with you forever. A win is only the start of the next challenge that will truly test you. You think you've overcome the hardest part, but wait until the real tests begin. Winning doesn't protect you from life's surprises. It only prepares you for them. What happens after you win reveals the true strength of your character. Victory can be a trap if you're not ready for what comes next. Just because you've won doesn't mean you're safe. The real danger comes next. Winning might give you a moment of rest, but it's the challenges that follow that shape you. The finish line is just the start of a whole new race. Every victory has a price, and the cost often comes after the win. When you think you've reached the peak, life's next mountain is already in front of you. Winning is easy. The real work starts when the celebrations end. The victory you think is everything will soon fade into the background of what's to come. You've conquered the battle, but the war is far from over. The win you've celebrated today will only be meaningful if you can handle what happens next. Success today doesn't protect you from the unknowns that tomorrow holds. What happens after the victory often shapes the legacy of your success. You may have won, but the real challenge is in keeping your footing afterward. The next challenge will show you whether your victory was a true triumph or a fleeting moment. Every victory has its shadow. It's what follows that reveals the truth. You may think you've beaten the odds, but the real test is what happens after. The victory lap is short-lived, but the lessons that follow can last a lifetime. Just when you think you've reached the end, life pushes you toward a new beginning. The real test of strength lies in surviving the aftermath of victory. Victory today doesn't mean you won't face greater obstacles tomorrow. You've won the battle, but the war is still unfolding in ways you haven't imagined. Every victory sets the stage for a new struggle, one that will demand even more from you. You may have claimed victory, but the true fight is in holding on to it. What happens after the win is what truly reveals your resilience. The aftermath of victory is where you prove whether you're truly prepared for what's next. You've conquered this moment, but the journey ahead is still full of surprises. The real challenge is not in winning, but in navigating what happens after. Victory might seem like the end, but it's merely the opening act for what's to come. After the win, life will always test whether you have the strength to endure. Victory is a fleeting moment, but what comes next defines your true strength. You've taken the prize, but the real work begins now. Every win is followed by a test you never saw coming. What happens next is where the true magic of your victory will be revealed. Winning feels great, but surviving what comes after is where your real power lies. The aftermath of success often holds the hardest lessons of all. You may have triumphed today, but what lies ahead will challenge everything you thought you knew. Victory isn't just in the moment, it's in what happens after the battle ends. The real challenge begins when you think you're untouchable. What you think is the finish line might just be the start of something bigger. Just when you think you've conquered everything, life throws in a twist you never saw coming. Winning isn't the end, it's the beginning of the next phase of your journey. You've overcome the first obstacle, but the next one is waiting for you. Triumph is fleeting. It's what comes next that will define you. Every victory hides a lesson that only reveals itself in the moments after. The real test of strength is not winning, but how you rise after the win. In victory, prepare yourself for what comes after the celebration. Winning is only the start. The real challenge lies in holding on to it. It's not the battle that defines you, but what you do after the dust settles. Don't get too comfortable with victory. Life has a way of testing you again. You think you've reached the peak, but the climb ahead is steeper than you ever imagined. What happens next is where the real magic happens. After the win comes the transformation. The journey doesn't stop at victory. It only shifts to the next chapter. You might have won, but the next step could make or break you. Victory only means something if you can conquer what comes after it. When you think you've won, that's when you need to prepare for the unexpected. Winning doesn't stop the storms, but it prepares you for them. There's a dangerous peace in winning. Wait until life reveals what's next. What happens after the win will reveal your true character. A win today doesn't guarantee peace tomorrow. You might have taken the prize, but the road ahead isn't paved. Victory is a moment. What you do after it echoes in time. You've claimed the title, but the battle for your soul has only begun. The greatest victories are those that come after the triumphs you thought were final. The thrill of victory fades quickly, but what follows will stay with you forever. Winning today doesn't mean you've beaten life. It only means you've survived this round. You're only as strong as what happens after your win. The challenge of life isn't in winning, it's in surviving what happens after. Victory doesn't protect you from what life has in store next. You think you're on top of the world, but the real battle starts when the world comes knocking. Your victory is temporary. Your ability to face what comes next is eternal. You may have triumphed, but the true test lies in the aftermath. Life's surprises come after you think the game is over. What happens after the win is where you discover who you truly are. Success is fleeting, but the consequences of what comes next are lasting. You've faced one challenge, but the next is already on its way. What you think is the end is often just the beginning of a whole new set of challenges. Victory can feel like an illusion until you see what comes after. Don't be fooled by a win. The true battle lies in what's to come. In every victory, there is the seed of a new challenge waiting to bloom. What happens after victory often teaches you more than the struggle itself. The real test isn't how you win, it's how you handle what follows. When you think you've made it, life's next challenge is already at your doorstep. What you do after winning will define the legacy of your victory. A win today might be the calm before the storm. You think you've won? Wait until the consequences of victory start to unfold. Victory isn't the finish line, it's the launch pad for the next challenge. The real truth about winning is realizing what's waiting for you after the cheers fade. You may have conquered the moment, but the journey continues, and it's far from easy. The victory lap is short, but what comes next is where your true strength is tested. You won the battle, but the war of life continues to test your resilience. Triumph doesn't exempt you from the challenges that lie ahead. Victory only offers you a brief pause before the next chapter of struggles. You've won, but the real test is in how you survive what comes after. Winning today is just a prelude to the bigger fight ahead. The real lesson is in what happens next, not in the victory itself. Victory is only the beginning of the next chapter in your ongoing story.